Welcome back, guys. So this is all about BGC 103 English honors and the poetry that we guys need to do. Kamala Das Blood. Blood is one of the underrated poetry of Kamala Das. लोग बोलते हैं ब्लड की बात कोई नहीं करता सब बात करते हैं माय मदर 66 ग्रैंड मदर हाउस सनशाइन कैट इंट्रोडक्शन अरे बहुत सारी पोइट्री हैं ब्लड उनमें से एक डोमिनेंट पोइट्री लेट्स स्टार्ट द क्लास आई रियली वांट यू गाइस टू हैव द टेक्स्ट ऑफ द पोइट्री विद यू कि यार मैं टेक्स्ट पढ़ूंगा और आपके पास टेक्स्ट होना चाहिए आपको गूगल पे टेक्स्ट तो मिल ही जाएगा एक्सप्लेनेशन नहीं है चीजें नहीं है तो उसके लिए आप नोट्स ले सकते हो यू कैन हैव द नोट्स आर नॉट फ्री गाइस यू हैव टू मेक द पेमेंट फर्स्ट लेट्स स्टार्ट द क्लास blood. When we were children, my brother and I, bhai बहन दोनों, my brother and I are always playing on the sands, drawing birds and animals. Our great grandmother said one. You will see the house of us. You will see the house of us now. Here, now 300 years old, it's falling to little bits before our very eyes. So दादी ने कुछ बोला क्या बोला था You see the house of ours now 300 year old is falling a little bits before our little eyes. वो गिरना शुरू हो चुका है 300 साल पुराना घर Sorry. The walls are cracked and torn and moistured by the rains. The tiles have fallen here and there. The windows whine and groan. And every night the rats come out the hose and scamper past our doors. The snakes shrine in the dark with the weeds, and all the snake gods in a shrine have lichen on their roots. Oh, it hurts me, she cries, weeping a reddened eye. उसकी आंखें लाल थी दादी की आंखें जो बताए थे तो घर टूट रहा था For I love the house, it hurts me to watch it die. When I grow old, I said, and very, very rich. I shall rebuild and fallen walls and make new and ancient house. जब मैं बड़ी होंगी ना रिच होंगी तो मैं दोबारा से घर को तैयार करूंगी My great grandmother touched my cheeks and smiled. She was really simple, fed on a god for years. All the feasts were monotonous, for only dish was always God, and the rest more condiment. She told us how she rode her elephant when she was 10 or 11. Every Monday, without fail, to the Shiva shrine, and back to home again, and told us to jewel box and the barcade from the north, and the perfumes and the oils and the sandals on her breast. And the marriage of the prince who loved her deeply for lovely short year and died of fever in her arms. सिर्फ एक साल में मर गया. How dreadful her life be. The husband who loves her very much died in just a 1 year. She told us that now we had the oldest blood. My brother and she and I, the oldest blood in the world, a blood thin and clear and fine. While in her veins are always poor, and the veins on a new rich man flowed blood thick as gruel, the muddy as a Dutch. Finally, she lay dying in her 86th year. Yes, she died in 86th year. A woman wearied by compromise, her legs quilted and arthritis, and with only a hard cuff for comfort. I looked deep into her eyes, her poor bleary eyes, and prayed that she would not grieve so much about the house कि उसको दुख ना हो उस घर का जिस घर को छोड़ के गई थी I had learned and then most lesson of defeat had found out that to grow rich was a difficult feat. Rich होना आसान नहीं है. It's a difficult part. The house was scorching on the elbows, then it looked at the night in the pallid moon. So gauted and alive when they burned my great grandmother. Our logs of the mango tree I locked once at a house and then again and again, for I thought I saw the windows close. Like the closing of the eyes, I thought I heard the pillars groan and the dark rooms heave a sign. I set forth again for other towns, left the house with the shrine and the sands and the flooring shrub and the white rabbit mouth of Arabian Sea. Now, are you able to connect this poetry with my grandmother house? Yes, it was a work of Kamala Das. I know the rats are running now across the darkened halls, they do not fear the dead. I know the white ants have reached my home and have raised on walls strange daughters of burial at night. In stillness, from every town I live in, I hear the rattles of this death. The noise of rafters cracking and the windows whine, I have let you down, old house. I seek forgiveness. O mother, mother's mother, I have plucked your soul like a pip from the fruit and have flung it into your prayer. Call me callous, call me selfish, but do not blame my blood. So thin, so clear, so fine. The oldest blood in the world. The rememberer as it flows, all the gems of the gold, and all the perfumes and the oils, and from the stately elephant ride. Yes, it also talks of her late great grandmother. One of the greatest literary figures in Malayalam, Kamala Das, was born in the year 1934, and how she described that poetry that tells about what actually had happened with her great grandmother and why the blood was being entitled to the poetry. Here it's his beginning. This is the very own interpretation of the poem Blood by Kamala Das. Here she felt the poem is a feminine depicting various aspects of women and different ages. Here she feels the woman can well understand another because all these traits were now within us. Maybe that is why Kamala Das, unlike her brother, could empathize the grandmother so much. उसका भाई भी कर सकता था, but नहीं, उसने किया. Here she avoided unnecessary explanation of the poem without it being reviewed as primary interest in examining the minute unsaid details about the woman in the poem. Here she anticipated the readers to find out a new insight of the poem through provoking. In a way, the poem Blood represent Indian English poet literature, clearly depicting the picture of the ancestry and yesterday in Malabar, Kerala. The same time, the poem is widow in a little girl's heart and how the world molds into butterfly from the native of the concon. सो कहीं ना कहीं सर ये कनेक्ट करता है एक पोइट्री को एक बच्चे को जो डिफाइन करता है कि एक्चुअली क्या हुआ था व्हाट एक्चुअली हैड हैपन उसको हाईलाइट करता है इन दिस पर्टिकुलर पोम द पोएट नरेट द रिच पास्ट ऑफ कमला's ग्रेट ग्रैंडमदर सर रिच पास्ट राजा महाराजा एलिफेंट पे आना एंड देन हर हस्बैंड डाइड इन 1 ईयर उसके बाद लाइफ कितनी ड्रेडफुल होगी शी डोंट हैव दैट फाइनेंशियल रिसोर्सेज टू रिपेयर दैट ओल्ड हाउस द 300-year-old हाउस jewel box, elephant, sandalwood, which all are symbolic of extraordinary or extravagant youth, and a marriage with the prince, and now then sudden loneliness after death within a year of their marriage. The poem also hints at how the woman and her grandmother dies along with her husband. If you read these lines from the poem, God is her only feast. Worldly pleasure become mere contemplation of the afterwards. एक woman तब तक blessed है जब तक उसका husband उसके साथ होता है in a patriarchal society. As her husband dies, everything dies. Everything dies with him. The poem also illustrates the pride her grandmother has over the blood which she carries to her grave. वो blood उसको define करती है, उस power को highlight करती है. The little girl Kamala would feel the defeat of miseries her grandmother gave it to her, promises herself to save 300-year-old house of her grandmother. उसने promise किया था अपनी दादी को, तो 300 साल पुराना घर बचाएगी. And then that little girl Kamala feels the defeat and miseries her grandmother gave and promises that she'd save the 300-year-old house. But then again, reality strikes. She learns that she grows up that making money is not easy. She feels the old house breaking down, white ants now fearlessly walking inside the old house. She asks for the forgiveness as she is incapable of protecting the house. These thoughts follow her and her life, such as the impact of the childhood experiences. उसने प्रॉमिस किया था अपनी दादी को बट शी वाज अनएबल टू सेव इट शी फील्स गिल्टी दैट शी प्लग्ड अप द soul of grandmother and flung it death prayer. She too is proud of her royal blood even though she is not powerful enough to renovate the old house her grandmother once loved. So this is the poetry that we guys need to clear. To conclude this, we can say Kamala Das' love is her religion. Her grandmother was a favorite person now who taught her to love, forgive and devote oneself to service and less fortunate. That means you're always ready to give, forgive. She was aware of the sorrow of her lonely grandmother. She sympathized with the struggle of everyday woman life and comes to the verses. It means this struggle is a part of every woman. Every woman in a patriarchal society where she was unable to live her own dreams due to certain restriction of male dominance. That she had given the reference of an introduction. So when you're talking about the blood, it means you need to go through all the poetry of Kamala Das, whether it's grandmother house, whether it's the sunshine cat, the whether it's all about the all other things that we guys need to keep in mind to understand the poetry from the beginning till the last. Wish you all the best.